Davidson is now recognized for 5 minutes.
Mr. Ray, thanks for what you're doing to recover funds that are missing and for helping us build the evidence trail to find out, what happened. I think a lot of people look at your initial statements and you say, we know the following. First, customer assets from FTX.com were commingled with assets from the Alameda trading platform. Second, Alameda used funds to engage in margin trading, which exposed customer funds to massive losses. Based on your review of the records, is the transfer of customer funds from FTX.com to Alameda Research in conflict with the FTX.com terms of service?
Yes, that's my view.
Right, so they claim that they weren't supposed to be able to trade those funds, and clearly they traded those funds.
I think that the difference in what you may be hearing is that unlike generally customer accounts, the Alameda account had no trading limitations, so virtually unlimited positions they could take.
Right. So when customers deposited funds into their FTX accounts, where did the cash go?
Well, sometimes the money wasn't deposited in the FTX account; it was sent to Alameda to begin with. So
it was misdirected from the start, straight to Alameda.
There was certainly some time period where there's no bank account at .com, and then ultimately, if you look at the structure of this, Alameda was essentially a customer on that .com exchange, and effectively, borrowed money from, or just transferred money from FTX customers to take its own positions on the Alameda hedge fund.
Right. So at times it was just going straight to Alameda. At other times, did you uncover a path where there was some sort of settlement, like in stocks where there's T+2, where there was settlement back and forth between FTX and Alameda?
Ultimately, when we look at this, there is going to be, I'm sure thousands and thousands of trades, right? So we're going to have to go back and do a very detailed analysis about every single.
But they didn't have a structured settlement framework at all in any of their software or accounting systems?
It doesn't appear so, no.
Okay, and have you ever done bankruptcies where you had to deal with custody of stocks?
Yes.
Yeah, so, obviously there you settle, clearly you own shares or you don't own shares. You take custody of the shares normally after a 2-day settlement period. There's a netting period where firms that trade in these net out and settle the position at the end of the day. It doesn't seem any of this kind of thing existed for FTX.
That's one of the findings. There was no reconciliation of the ledger on a day-to-day basis.
Was there anything that have you detected a point in time where the assets on hand for this enterprise matched the amount of customer deposits?
We have to go back and look at that. We're looking at a timeline. We're going to have to back up from the petition date. My guess would be you'd have to back up for more than a year, and then we'll look at, on a day-to-day basis. Again, they didn't reconcile ledger on a day-to-day basis. We've got to now do that to find the answer to your question.
Okay, so custody really seems to be one of the big things here. Clearly, they didn't have a way to reconcile custody on behalf of their customers. But sometimes when people were saying, boy, I don't know about this, maybe I'm going to take my funds out. Let's say somebody bought Bitcoin and now they want to exit with custody of Bitcoin and have self-custody. Is that the point in time when FTX or some combination of these entities acquired the Bitcoin so that they could deliver what the customer was requesting?
Well, there's a certain amount of liquidity at a point in time. I think the problem happened when there was effectively a run on the bank and there was just less assets there than the depositors effectively would require to be drawn out. Underscoring that is a commingling of those assets even amongst the customers themselves. So it's just really one pot of crypto, if you will.
Right. Okay, so no control, no custody. And the only real safeguard the individual consumer had as this was unwinding was the hope that they could somehow be one of the lucky people that decided to say, I'm going to take possession and self-custody my own digital asset. Those people, if they've exited and they have custody of the assets, are their assets now safe?
Well, you're exactly on point. I mean, if we could all be as lucky as the Bahamian customers who got the money out.
All right, thank you. My time's expired. I yield.